So, this is going to be the second part of my series, Making a Brand Part 2, Making a 50K Brand. So, last week I talked about basically the steps I was going to be doing, which started with kind of finding a trend that I thought was going to be valuable and not a niche in the market because I think niches are important to have. Obviously, you want to have your niche, but you don't want to go for something so remote that no one's doing it. Because if no one's doing it, there's probably a reason behind that. The internet's so big at this point that if someone's not focusing in on one thing to make money, it's probably not making any money. So you want to find something that more or less has some sort of trend going behind it and it looks like it's on the up and up. And so today I'm just going to kind of be talking about the first step, I guess, of finding my brand. I'm not going to reveal what I did specifically, but I will kind of show you the steps I took to get there. So let's start with literally just going to Google Trends. So Google Trends, if you don't know what it is, it basically it's free and it provides you with all the search trends that are going on. So you can look at things like literally from uh look at search queries. I Labubu, Super Bowl calendar, Olympia medal count, whatever this is. Sorry. But this is kind of just showing you basically what's going on. So when you're kind of looking at these things though, you want to look for something that's steady. So let's take some of the most popular things that have made trends, recently. So let's look at like creatine, for example, specifically gummies. So I'm sure you guys, if you're in this world, have seen creatine gummies and kind of just how crazy they've gotten. So over time, this is just over the past 12 months, as you can see, you've seen that spike that's kind of occurred, and it's at 100. So if we look at the past 5 years, for example, you can see it's crazy. It's gone up a significant amount. It's on its way down at this point. Is there still money to be made here? Yes, but it's a little saturated. You can tell. It's just on it's kind of had its major spike. When you're looking at something, you want to see something like this. Basically, the first 2 years from 2020 to 24, this is a great growth opportunity because you're hitting it before it gets humongous. And this gives you time to kind of make your niche within that market. So that's a key thing to do. And like I said, this is completely free what I'm using right now. This is not a paid program. This is Google Trends. So when you're in this e-commerce space, you kind of can get a feel for it more, I'd say, because obviously there's points in time that I'm aware of more so than the average person, just because I've been around it. I've seen what's trending. I see the ups and downs. Let's just do another one for example. So Labubu's is another one. I believe this is how you spell it. Labubu, maybe. Yeah, see, people don't even know how to spell it. Look at look at this. So you can literally see on Google Trends, it's probably topped out, but this is one of those things where maybe, just maybe, right? Uh, you could find that, well, okay, so it's topped out. You could assume that maybe I'm trying to resell these. This is completely different from what I'm doing, but you can assume that it is a toy, and maybe within Christmas time it'll spike up again to a significant amount. I mean, it kind of peaked out in June. It looks like it went down in July, but it's still rising. And I think honestly, with toys, if you're looking to resell, again, this is different. Uh, you can kind of bet on something like this. It's July right now, and these are in back order. You can assume during Christmas time these are going to be able to make you some money, and they are making people money, right? Let's just go. This is a little bit of a tangent, but if we go on StockX, I think this is the rare version. Uh, Sorry, my top cash back stuff's coming up, but you can see it's 280. I think these 30 bucks a piece usually. So obviously this is a rare version, so it's kind of like a Pokemon card type of thing where you're pulling and you see what happens. But still, money to be made botting these sort of things or doing some sort of thing. And this is all with Google Trends. So this is, I guess, more of an example of Google Trends. And another thing you can do, compare it. So let's think of another big toy that's been a big thing. So, okay, yeah, I believe it was called Hatchables, if I remember correctly. Or no, Magic Mixies. That's what I'm thinking of. So these a couple years ago had a lot of the same, I guess, hype, you could say. And look at it's crazy, dude. You you can see it obviously during Christmas time. It hit its peak again, but let's check the past 5 years because I think this will be more indicative. So this is something that we could probably almost model Labubu's after. It had its huge spike in December, went down, and sure enough, guess what happened? December the following year, it peaked out again, and it's just kind of getting higher or lower highs every year. But you can assume Labubu had its huge run. It's going to have another run in December. So when you're looking at charts for this is reselling, like I said, um, you want to find something like this within Google Trends. For something like a supplement, for example, though, like we talked about, you want to hit it before that peak happens because supplements are a little more, you're looking to build a brand, right? And a brand only has a certain amount of space and it's a little more established than a trend like Labubu's, like Magic Mixies, etc. So when you're doing those sort of things, you want to be able to identify them before the curve happens. So Google Trends is a great tool for this. Another tool I'd recommend, Helium 10. Uh, so Helium 10, just kind of what it is, basically allows you to kind of look into keywords and figure out what's selling, what's not selling, and gives you an opportunity to kind of figure out if what you're looking at is going to be a trend or not. So it's just a good thing. I'd take a look at this too if you're looking to sell anything. Obviously, people use these to set up their Amazon listings. I've used it before for that, and I think it's very valuable. But I think the most valuable thing is just the fact that you can read these trends, right? And so you're getting more data. Data is everything in e-commerce, data and ads. And so if you can understand how to identify a product and how to run a half decent ad, you're going to make a lot of money. So between these two tools, you're pretty set up. So like I said, that was step one of making the brand 50K a month, that's the name of the video, but making a brand in general, right? So step one is identifying the trend. Step two, like I talked about, is actually finding a supplier. And I'm going to get into that next video because I kind of want to talk more about identifying brands today. But like I said, there's steps to this. It's very laid out for you, right? But people aren't willing to do the work because they're afraid to take a risk. They're afraid to lose some money, and there is a learning curve to it, right? With anything else. But think about, say you go to the gym. Think about working out once or twice, right? You're not going to see any results. Think about working out 3 or 4 times. Not going to see any results. But you do that over the span of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you're going to start to see results. So it's the same thing with just using these type of things to actually find products. You're going to learn over time how to read these charts, how to understand things like Helium 10, how to understand things like Google Trends, and you're going to continue to just get better. So that's just kind of all I want to talk about today. I think with identifying a product, um, I'm just giving you guys the framework behind it and kind of how I do it. I'm not going to go into the specifics of it uh, because, like I said, I'm running my own brand, and until it launches, I don't really want to tell you what that is because people will go ahead and steal the idea, etc. I think it will pan out for a lot of you guys though trying this if you actually take the time to learn and watch YouTube videos and kind of get a better idea. Um, my name's Chase, by the way, if I haven't mentioned myself already. I sell on Amazon and I have for 3 years now. I've done over $1 million in sales online and I'm continuing to just grow with various brands I'm starting and obviously the content side of things too. I'm trying to, kind of teach what I've learned over these past 3 or 4 years to you guys. So I'd really appreciate if you subscribed. I hope this video was informative to some extent. If you have any questions or concerns or anything, either drop a comment. I also have a free Discord. It's right there. So yeah, guys, I hope you have a good day. Thank you for everything, and I'll see you in the next video. This has been Making a Brand that's going to generate me 50K in revenue, part two. So have a good one.